Hi, and welcome to Worth the War. My name is Kimmy. The purpose of this channel is rethinking love and sparing hearts. Whether you've been wounded by something that was anything but love, or you're trying to prepare children to be able to navigate the dating, love, and relationship scene, if you think we can do a better job with love and relationship than we're doing today, then you found the exact right channel. We would love to have you join us as we raise our voices to help protect people and spare hearts and to find healthy love along the way. Today's video is Sparing Hearts by Rethinking Love. It's as close as you can get to the core content of this channel. We're going to look at practical things that we can do in our approach to love and relationship that will help people to spare our own hearts and the hearts of those we love. So let's keep our commitment to stay focused on the content and dig right in. We have quite a few videos where we talk about how we've ended up where we are with dating and love and relationship, how we have changed from having so much oversight and protection and really no choice to being where we are today. Some of the things that have been good in that progression are that we get to choose who it is that we spend our time with. We get to choose based on our own worldview and moral decisions how we want to experience that relationship. Those kinds of things are good. Those are freedoms. Nobody's advocating that we should try to take those things away. But one of the things that we've lost along the way is the idea of protection at all. The word philophobia means the fear of love, but why would anyone be afraid of love? The truth is, there are a lot of reasons that somebody might be afraid of love today. Some of the things that we do aren't really loving. We do treat love like a salad bar, like a grocery store. Figure out what it is you want, what you need, use it up, get a new plate when you're done. At the end of all of it, there are reasons that we should be a little bit uncomfortable with the idea of throwing our hearts into the arena. At least we can today talk about some things that if we rethink how we approach it, could give us a much better shot of finding a heart that's actually worth building something with. I know we're not the only people who are concerned about what's happening in the love and relationship arenas. There's a study by Viceland, and you can find it on vice.com, where 2,500 UK millennials were asked, what's your number one fear? It wasn't joblessness, it wasn't illness or crime. It was not being able to find love. And I'm sure that they're not thinking about being able to find hookups or temporary people that will suck them dry. That's pretty easy to find on any street corner. Finding something worth having, on the other hand, is a harder task. Some of the studies that I was able to dig through that people think of when they say that they're afraid of love were things like finding the right one, not getting broken, not dealing with abuse that creeps into a relationship, dishonesty, not being able to trust what they say or what they do, sexual consequences between pregnancy, STDs, other kinds of issues. Vulnerability itself is something that people are afraid of. And I think that goes along with this idea that it hasn't been a very safe place in the last generation or so to be involved in a love relationship, especially if it's just kind of turned in or it's disposable. So the idea of vulnerability is something that people struggle with. And lastly, their entire self-worth is challenged. When they think about being in a relationship, they're worried that if someone else doesn't have that they're going to lose their own sense of self-worth. Thinking about some of the things they're afraid of gives us a good place to jump off of, to think of some ways that we can rethink love and spare hearts at the same time. One of the things we have to remember is that where we're coming from is a different place than when we were coming from 2 generations ago. It used to be you had a baseline of knowledge on someone. Somebody you knew them, somebody lived near them, someone knew their family. Today, it is very common to have someone who completely comes to you in a vacuum. You know nothing. It is like a sterile environment where all you have is a picture and a bio. And that bio can be crafted in any number of ways. Whether it has anything to do with the truth or not, you have no control over. So when we think about these things, we have to realize as we approach love and relationship today, rethinking it's going to include the fact that we don't have the luxury of accepting anything on face value anymore. Intentionality, character, these are just the kind of things we don't have insight into anymore. So we need to be able to keep that in mind as we move forward. And that is the perfect segue to the 3-step method that we can use to rethink love and protect hearts. It's the word FAR, F-A-R. The first one is F for fact-finding. The first stage of a relationship, we have to go into it with the idea that we're not throwing our heart into the ring. Rather, we're going in as a fact finder to go find out, how does this person react in their life? How do people treat them that know them? How do people speak of them that know them? We so far have limited engagement with them. We need to glean all the information that we can, not in some kind of creepy way where we spend our lives on the internet trying to figure out stuff in the background, but rather in a good way where we say, I want to know, how does this person respond to the people that have been in their lives a lot longer than I have been? How do they live their life? What kind of opinions do other people have of them? If you go into that with the attitude of fact finding, your heart is immediately protected, and you need to go into it with that mindset before you meet that person. Otherwise, your confirmation bias is going to kick in and you're going to figure out that whatever answer you need is going to be the one you get. So the first one, the F in FAR, is fact finding. Get your mentality and your mindset into the idea that you are going to be much better at watching than you are at listening, and you're going to be in a learning mode. So the first part is the protection aspect of you going in and finding out what someone's made of. The second part is A, for arm yourself. Understanding that you have to be healed before you enter into this process. Anything from your childhood or previous relationships where you were wounded have to be shored up. They have to be healed. They have to be treated. Otherwise, we're going to attract someone who's just going to continue the wounding. The other thing we need to do is make sure we're armed with the knowledge of our self-worth, the things we bring to a relationship. We have to think about what it is we want from a relationship, what we need from somebody else. If we have a strong understanding of that, we're going to be able to set boundaries, to communicate clearly, to have a healthy basis for a relationship. If you go into these relationships hoping you're going to heal on the fly or someone else is going to help you, you're much more likely to find someone who's going to continue the wounding, as we said before. But even more than that, they're not going to be able to find the foundation to build a healthy relationship with you on. So make sure that you are thinking about this idea of arming yourself with healing, with self-knowledge, and with the desires to move forward in one solid piece. And the third part of this 3-step series would be the word reserved. Take the time to hold back your heart, get to know somebody, enjoy your time with them, but don't give them your heart. And I would suggest for a year or more. That sounds really hard, and I get that. But when it comes to giving your heart to someone, isn't it worth it to take the time to make sure that they're even capable of holding it? And you really won't know that in the first couple months. What you're going to see is what you're meant to see. But over time, you're going to find out if something's going in a direction you don't want and you ask for change, should they do it, or do they say they're going to do it and they really just do whatever they want? Are they capable of change? Do they show empathy when you're in pain? How do they handle it when you set boundaries and you actually expect them to respect those? These things are telltale signs of a heart that cares more about you and your relationship than they do their own agenda and their own ability to get done what they want to get done. So when we think about being reserved, we're not necessarily saying we are not investing our time in the relationship or we're not spending time and being part of it, but what we are doing is we're keeping a piece back to say, I'm going to make sure that when I lay my heart in this person's hand, it's going to be wise, it's going to be careful, and I'm going to know what I'm doing. And that doesn't happen in a microwave. It has to be slower. To me, the word FAR is the perfect acronym for a rethinking of love, to go around, to go the longer way. In a culture that is image-driven, supersonic speed, that's all about getting what you want and moving on, in that kind of environment, the word FAR means I'm willing to go the distance so that I can find something that's real. And if I do this, if I work on these steps, I've got a much better shot of actually finding someone who will be there and won't leave me in pain and leave me wounded. So it takes away some of the fear. I wish I could promise you that everything will work out if you do these 3 things, but the truth is there is still risk in love. As long as there are people who will pretend to be one thing and actually be another, there will be risks. But these things will minimize those risks. I've seen it up close. I've seen that anybody can be anything for a short period of time. That isn't what character is. Character is what they are when no one else is looking. Character is when their words meet their actions. If you want to find that, you may have to go out of your way. You may have to go far, but you can find them. They do exist. So this is a really fast and easy way to remember that we can rethink love and we can have different expectations than the ones that we just automatically are given by the world around us. We can go far. We can be fact-finding. We can arm ourselves and we can reserve ourselves until we're sure. And if we do those things, we've built in a process that will keep hearts safer. Thank you so much for taking the time to be here. I hope it's helped a little bit or gives you a tool that you can share with someone that will help them so that we can start to spare hearts, see the numbers of abuse and intimate partner violence go down. That's why we're here. I hope you'll join us. Thank you so much for taking the time to be here and have a great rest of your day.